Hi, my name's Professor Silver, and you're watching Pokemon Explained. In today's class, we'll break down the complete history of Ash's Swellow, detailing all its battles, storylines, and character development. Ash met Swellow as a Taillow in Never Can Taillow shortly after arriving in Hoenn. Since he, Max, and May unknowingly invaded Taillow's territory, it stole their chocolate and attacked them relentlessly. Pikachu defended the gang with Thunderbolt, but the flying types were so enraged that they shrugged off all its electricity and didn't retreat until Brock arrived with his exploding fortress. Soon after Ash reunited with Brock, the Taillow Flock's leader sought out Pikachu and demanded they finish their battle as it wanted to prove its strength and maintain its pride. During their match, Taillow dodged Quick Attack, put Pikachu on edge, withstood an insane amount of electricity, and sent Pikachu plummeting to the earth. Pikachu fought back with Thunder, but Taillow stubbornly withstood the assault. Ash worried Taillow would never stop fighting, so he caught it and added it to his team. Following its capture, Taillow bonded with Ash, broke bread with its old friends, bid its flock farewell, and assumed position as Ash's regional flyer. Much like Pidgeotto and Noctowl, Taillow regularly conducted scouting missions, thwarted Team Rocket's schemes, irritated Jessie, popped hot air balloons, and provided utility support. Though Taillow was as stubborn as Bulbasaur and as fierce as Charizard, it struggled in many of its early battles. Taillow failed to sync with Ash against the Zigzagoon, lost to a cheating Pelipper, took one on the beak from Drew's Roselia, and fell to Gym Leader Brawly's Machop. Ash used Corphish instead of Taillow in his rematch with Brawly, but he never stopped encouraging Taillow to reach its full potential. He led Taillow to victory over May's Beautifly and now its Flower Power, and trained with it against powerful Pokemon like May's Torchic, Michelle's Bagon, and a wild Nuzleaf. In That's Just Swellow, Taillow competed in the Poke Ringer, a competition for flying Pokemon that involved retrieving a ring and placing it on a goalpost. It beat the previous year's champion by shaking off Thunder and landing Wing Attack, took down a Skarmory in the second round, and faced James's Dustox in the finals. Taillow escaped Psybeam and retaliated with Wing Attack, but a Flash Tornado stopped it from grabbing the ring. Rather than wait for the weather to subside, Taillow dove into the tornado, gathered its strength, evolved into Swellow, let loose a spinning Wing Attack, retrieved the ring, won Ash the competition, and earned him lifetime citizenship in Crossgate Town. Shortly after evolving, Swellow tested its newfound strength against Gym Leader Winona's Shiny Swellow in Sky High Gym Battle. Seizing on Swellow's inexperience and high altitude, the Shiny deflected Wing Attack, landed Peck, fired off Hyper Beam, surprised Swellow with Aerial Ace, and unleashed more Hyper Beams. In response, Swellow dove downward, struck the ground with Wing Attack, bounced upward with a fatal blow, won Ash the Feather Badge, and established itself as a major threat. The battle showcased Swellow's growing power, but also highlighted its need for a moveset upgrade. Seeing Aerial Ace in action so impressed Ash, he made it his goal to teach the move to Swellow. In Pokeblock, Stock, and Berry, Vlad the attacker taught Ash that in order to perfect Aerial Ace, Swellow would need to fly high, do a steep dive, flare out before touching the ground, and crash into its opponent at full force. No matter how many times Swellow failed, it never gave up and eventually mastered the attack. Following a practice battle with Corphish, Mudkip, and Lombre, Swellow teamed with Pikachu against Tate's Solrock and Liza's Lunatone and Solid as a Solrock. Solrock and Lunatone started strong, but their accidental collision of attacks allowed Swellow to usurp their lead with Aerial Ace. Team Rocket interrupted the battle and unintentionally helped Tate and Liza hone their teamwork skills. So when the battle resumed, Lunatone and Solrock thwarted Swellow and Pikachu's independent attacks, deflected Thunderbolt, overcame Double Team, and stopped their sneak attack. Ash realized he couldn't win through conventional means, so he commanded Swellow and Pikachu to absorb a reflected thunder. Once their abilities were supercharged by Thunder Armor, Swellow and Pikachu tore through Solar Beam and Light Screen, went full force, and earned Ash the Mind Badge. Swellow performed so admirably that Ash used it opposite Gym Leader Juan's Whiscash, and 8 ain't enough. Whiscash intercepted Quick Attack, lowered Swellow's defense with Tickle, and landed Hyper Beam. But Swellow withstood the assault, followed Whiscash underwater, fired off Aerial Ace, dodged Hyper Beam, and beat it into submission. Even though Swellow then fell to Juan's Milotic, Ash won the battle anyway, earned the Rain Badge, and gained entry to the Hoenn League. During the league's 4th round in a Judgment Brawl, Swellow rocked Katie's team with its Proud Fury. Whilst battling Venomoth, Swellow dodged Stun Spore, landed a flurry of Pecks, weathered Disable, fired off Aerial Ace, evaded Supersonic, and won with Quick Attack. Katie tried to match Swellow's speed with her Scizor, but Swellow met its Quick Attack blow for blow. When Scizor followed up with Double Team and Metal Claw, Swellow activated a Double Team of its own, dodged the rest of Scizor's attacks, and won with Aerial Ace. Thoroughly exhausted, Swellow then fell to Walrein, who deflected Quick Attack, froze its wing, and won with Ice Beam. After Ash beat Katie, Swellow tied against Morrison's Gligar in Choose It or Lose It. It dodged Guillotine and Iron Tail and recovered from Hidden Power, but couldn't muster enough strength for Aerial Ace to overcome Steel Wing. During the quarterfinals and at the end of the fray, Swellow avenged Torkoal and Corphish after they fell to Tyson's Hariyama. Hariyama intercepted Peck and let loose Seismic Toss, but Swellow won anyway with Aerial Ace. Donphan tried to slow Swellow down with Sandstorm in a series of rollouts, but Swellow grabbed its tusk and knocked it out with a vicious throw. Whilst battling Tyson's Metagross, Swellow broke through Psychic and landed Quick Attack, but fell to Hyper Beam. Even though the cracks Swellow produced in Metagross's exterior gave Ash the insight he needed to beat the pseudo-legendary, he ultimately lost the tournament. Following Ash's return to Kanto, Swellow met Noctowl, fought an army of Mecha Fearow, struck a Mecha Slacking, tackled Jessie, battled Deoxys, and fought in 2 of Ash's Battle Frontier challenges. In Tactics Theatrics, Swellow and Corphish fought Frontier Brain Tucker's Swampert and Arcanine. Tucker's team got off to a rousing start with Extreme Speed, Protect, Aerial Ace, and Mudshot. After dodging Water Gun, Ash's team tried to gain the upper hand with Crab Hammer and Double Team, but Swampert and Arcanine countered with Dynamic Punch and Fire Blast. Even though Tucker's team then combined Water Pulse with Fire Blast to create a tornado of torment, Corphish and Swellow refused to quit. Corphish blocked Flamethrower and Water Gun with Bubble Beam, while Swellow tricked Arcanine into hitting Swampert. Shortly after Swellow took Corphish for an airplane ride, and Corphish extinguished Fire Blast, the two triumphed with a combination of Quick Attack, Crab Hammer, and Aerial Ace. Swellow's list of impressive wins grew even further while fighting Frontier Brain Spencer's Venusaur and Kaboom with a View. It dodged a volley of attacks, confused the Grass type with Double Team, narrowly evaded Vine Whip, struck with Quick Attack, and won by preempting Solar Beam with Aerial Ace. Despite the win, Spencer's next Pokemon Claydol teleported away from Quick Attack, followed up with Rapid Spin, encased Swellow within Sandstorm, and knocked it out with Hyper Beam. Swellow rested at Oak's Lab during Sinnoh, but returned to battle Tobias's Latios at the Sinnoh League. It unleashed an epic war cry and took part in an aerial skirmish, but unfortunately lost to a single Luster Purge. Since its Sinnoh League comeback, Swellow has yet to reappear beyond brief cameos. It likely spends its days training, racing Ash's other flying types, and dreaming of Thunder Armor. Swellow won against May's Beautifly, Volt's Volbeat, a Skarmory, Jessie's Dustox, Winona's Swellow, Tate's Solrock, Liza's Lunatone, Juan's Whiscash, Katie's Venomoth, Katie's Scizor, Tyson's Hariyama, Tyson's Donphan, Tucker's Swampert, Tucker's Arcanine, and Spencer's Venusaur. It lost to Ash's Pikachu, Brawly's Machop, Drew's Roselia, Juan's Milotic, Katie's Walrein, Tyson's Metagross, Deoxys, Spencer's Claydol, and Tobias's Latios. Swellow's one and only tie was with Morrison's Gligar. Over the course of the series, Swellow used Quick Attack, Wing Attack, Peck, Double Team, and Aerial Ace. Swellow was the first of Ash's regional birds that felt like a true fighter. Unlike Pidgeot and Noctowl, who were mere afterthoughts at their leagues, Swellow was an MVP. Between its resistance to electricity and stubborn refusal to quit under any circumstance, there's a great argument to be made that Swellow is Ash's most powerful bird. There's no denying Swellow's warrior nature, but because it did little but battle and thwart Team Rocket, I can't help but wish it received a few more episodes of character growth. I would have loved to see Swellow nurse a rivalry with Noctowl, bond more with Corphish outside of battle, and show off the mischievous side of its personality, which we only briefly glimpsed in its first appearance. And with that, class is adjourned. I'll be back next week to cover a different character from the anime. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're never late to class. And for extra credit, like this video and let me know your thoughts on Ash's Swellow. Until next time, catch you later.